I'm at another beach town not far from Progresso today. It's called Chellam. And this one, even though I've never been here, this is my first time, it kind of holds a little special place in my heart because before we moved to Mexico, probably for 3 or 4 years, when we were looking into buying a beach house and moving here, this was one of the towns where I continually found very affordable, I'm talking cheap homes on the beach or just blocks from the beach. And I kind of had my heart set on this place. And it's a little surreal to be here now when before it was just something I saw on the screen, on the computer screen. But it's beautiful out here, just like it was in the first beach we went to, Sisal. The only difference here is that, well, for one, today the waves are really crashing against the shore. So please excuse that if that's kind of loud. I don't know, but it sounds pretty loud to me. But there are a lot of makeshift docks made of wood that jut out into the water, and they cover a lot of the sand in this area. So my husband was a little bit worried because he might not be able to run here because it's not just a wide open beach space like the last two places that we were at. But we made it work. He's decided to go in a direction that looks the safest, and there's not as many of those things jutting into the sand. And I'm sitting here in the shade, beautiful shade. There's nice homes out here. I hope this isn't anybody's property, but I don't think it is. There were no signs anywhere. So I'm just going to enjoy the day, and this episode is a continuation of last week's episode about things that fall away when you give your life over to Jesus Christ. This is part 2. Now, just to recap just the titles from last week, we covered things that fall away, the love of money, depression and anxiety, a materialistic lifestyle, the blind from your eyes, emotions like anger, fear, and jealousy, and worry about the future. So if you're interested in hearing what I have to say about those particular topics, go to last week's episode and you can find those. Today I'm going to start with something that falls away when you come to Christ. It's very big for some people, and that is alcohol and substance abuse. Now, I don't personally have this particular experience to share, but I do know of people, I have heard of people who have been addicted to drugs or alcohol, and when they came to Christ, they just gave their life over to Him. Their life just completely changed. And it may have been a little hard in the beginning, but God helped them through it, helped them through withdrawals, helped them to come clean. And I have seen so many stories and read so many stories of this being the story for people, of being the case. And still 25 years later, some of these people have been clean ever since. So it's such a blessing. So if you struggle with alcohol addiction or substance abuse, I know in my heart, with my whole heart, that following Christ and putting your trust in Him, He can help relieve you of that. Now, I will say briefly that I did have an alcohol addiction from about the age of 13 to 19. I'm saying that this doesn't apply to me because my addiction didn't heal after I came to Christ. It was actually before. But I know that it was because God helped me the hard way that I was able to overcome my alcohol addiction. And I ended up with pancreatitis, and I was in the hospital for about 4 or 5 days. The nurses said that if I ever drank again, it would probably kill me next time. And I never touched it since. So this is also an example how God helps us through our trials and difficulties, sometimes in hard ways. It makes sense because if the easy way doesn't work, how else is he going to get our attention? And that was precisely what happened with me. I was a literal alcoholic from such a young age, and I wasn't going to stop. I had no intention of stopping. And it was the same with smoking cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for about 14 years and ended up with a collapsed lung. And I had to learn my lesson the hard way, but God pulled me through it, just like with the pancreatitis. And I never smoked again after that. So trusting God to help you with any addictions you have, even if it's not alcohol and drugs or cigarettes. There are so many addictions that control every aspect of our lives, it seems like. Even things that are seemingly innocent, like coffee or junk food. And we know in the back of our minds or in our hearts, and sometimes just even on the surface, that we say, oh, I'm going to quit this, but then we never do. Coming to Christ will help you to accomplish that. The next one on the list is promiscuity and modesty. The modesty doesn't fall away, but the promiscuity does. So many young girls grow up with no father figure, a broken mother, in broken homes, and that unfortunately is the route that most of them take. They get into promiscuous relationships, they're just seeking love, or they intentionally become promiscuous knowing that it's harmful, but they don't care. They just have that live or die attitude, and that's just how that their life is, and then they regret it when they get older, and they start to wonder, how could I have done that to myself? I know that these things fall away. I have a little bit of a personal experience with this as well. But when you come to Christ, you begin to understand that your body, just as it says in the Bible, is a temple. And if you think about it, God blessed you with the body that you have. And we're supposed to take care of ourselves. And that includes not just not taking drugs or alcohol or eating terrible food and getting regular exercise, but we are supposed to love the body that God gave us, not want to change it to look like somebody else, but also we need to respect ourselves. And when you come to Christ, when you have Christ's love and light in your life, you become so ashamed of your past. You don't ever want to go down that road again. You want to cherish the body that He gave you and save it for your future husband, and just not give pieces of yourself away to random people, because you will regret it. And a life in Christ helps you with that. A life in Christ helps you become modest and dress modestly, and not want to show off your assets to everybody. It's just so comforting to know that Christ is there, and that He is the one that you want to make proud, to impress, and to please. And you cannot do that by living a promiscuous life. You cannot do that by giving your body away to anybody, even a boyfriend. Wait until you're married and do that. But for those of us who have already made those mistakes, Christ changes everything for us. It's like giving everyone a new start, to love our bodies, to love ourselves, to save ourselves for marriage. So when you come to Christ, promiscuity falls away, modesty takes over. Absolutely. And you will love it. You will start to have so much respect for yourself. You will walk with confidence, and you will walk with a light that shines through the light of Christ, the love of Christ. My next one is dishonesty. Even the smallest lies can make a huge impact. When you live a biblical life for God, you start to have a relationship with your conscience. You want to be an honest, good person. You want to be that person that people can trust and come to. You want to be the person that you would want if you needed someone. And dishonesty, anyone who lies, cheats, anything like that, that's not a godly life. When you come to Christ, you naturally want to be a better person, and that includes to be an honest person. The next one is profanity. This is a big one for me because the F word was a part of my everyday speech. It was just something that I did, and I couldn't really help myself. But also, there were so many times where I thought it was just cool, you know. It was the thing to use the F word or to call someone a vulgar name. When you come to Christ, you don't want that in your life anymore. You don't want to hear it anymore. I have gotten to where I can't even stomach it watching movies and television with vulgar language. I absolutely hate it. I love that I hate it. I love that I feel like I've grown up so much that I don't need to use curse words to get my point across or to make me look a certain way, to make me look hard. And I don't want to look hard. I don't want to look like a woman who is intimidating or aggressive and just vulgar and not feminine, because to use curse words is not feminine at all. It's very I don't want to say masculine either. I just want to say it's vulgar. It's just vulgar. And I think a lot of women really don't want to be that way, but they don't know anything else. But when you give your life over to Christ, you shed that skin, you shed that aggressiveness and that profanity. It's just gone. And the next one goes hand in hand with that, and that is violent behavior. I kind of had violent behavior. It was kind of a defense mechanism when I was in an abusive relationship, but I knew a lot of women, and I still know of a lot of women who are very violent. I live not far from one who is well old enough to know better than that, but still does it. Women who just feel like they need to go and beat up the girl that they think that their husband or their boyfriend is cheating with. Someone cuts them off on the highway and they get road rage and chase the person down. Fights in random places, fights at concerts and at parties and in the park with your kids. I've seen something like that. Just an innocent little outing with a mother and two children, a boy and a girl, and they were on the playground, and the mothers ended up getting into a fist fight on the playground. It's ridiculous. It's unattractive. It's sad. And when you come to Christ, that just lifts from you, that violent, aggressive behavior. Some people might have to work at it a little harder than others, but for me, I have changed my attitude and my personality so much because I wanted to, for Christ, to live that peaceful, loving life, a feminine life, a biblical life. And I look back on the years that I wasted. I feel like I wasted them, even though none of our life is a waste. Everything is a lesson. We gain something from everything, even our trials and traumas and things. But so many years I went through as this very angry, vulgar, sometimes violent person. And it's very stressful to be a violent person. It can age you so much faster if you're violent, stressed out all the time, using profanity. Just be the lady you were born to be, and you will probably live longer, because we all know, even science says, stress kills. And there is no way that you don't have stress if you're violent. That is definitely one of my favorite ones on the list, because I wish so many women would wake up and understand and really accept God's love, accept His light and His peace, and they would know how life really was supposed to be for them. They would find contentment and joy in everyday, even mundane tasks, living the simple life, not having anything because they're not bothered by anything. And it's so freeing. It's so absolutely freeing. And I wish all women could experience that, because they would never go back. They wouldn't. Now, the last one on my list, I know there are so many more. I could probably talk about this for hours and hours, all the things that change about our lives when Christ is the center of our life. I know I'm missing some major ones. You can put them in the comments. Maybe I'll do another episode on this some other time. But right now I'm going to talk about having a judgmental attitude. I had, and sometimes still have, a judgmental attitude toward other people. I'm gonna be honest, I get aggravated when I'm in a filthy place. I don't turn my noses up at people and be disgusted by them generally, unless they are just really acting like they deserve it, or they want to be looked at as disgusting. But I always tended to judge people, whether it was based on appearance, physical appearance, or where they lived. And of course, this was mostly when I was a teenager and a young adult. And I started growing up, way before I gave my life to Christ. But when I did give my life to Christ, I was able to see just how judgmental I was, even when I thought I wasn't being judgmental. So that is another thing that it may not go away right away, but it starts to fall away, and you can definitely feel it. And you start to realize the error of your ways, and you want to be better and make better choices and help people instead of condemning them or judging them. That is my episode for today. Like I said, if you have any more on the list, which I know there are plenty, leave them in the comments. I might do an episode about it later. Right now I'm just going to take some footage of this beautiful beach here with the waves crashing on the shore, and enjoy while I'm here, and dream about owning one of these beach houses one day, maybe. May God bless you, your family, and your life.